We, the unfeeling and tech-obsessed robots of Ars Technica, are not ones for romance. We're usually more concerned with the inner workings of operating systems, gaming consoles, and internet regulation than those of the human heart. But we realize that love is a powerful drug and that Valentine's Day is a time for many Ars readers to show appreciation for their partners. It's also, for better or worse, a time to buy things. So to help you nerdy romantics, we've compiled a few Ars-y recommendations that should do right by your significant other. To be clear, gadgets and love aren't always a natural fit. Don't just buy one of these things and call it a day. Take your partner out to dinner, buy them chocolate, do something you both enjoy. Or mutually decide that Valentine's Day is a commerce-manufactured, stereotype-reinforcing holiday and do nothing. Whatever the case, here are a few suggestions for treating your dorky lover. Note: Ars Technica may earn compensation for sales from links on this post through affiliate programs. Jaybird X3. There never seems to be a shortage of people who could use a headphone upgrade, particularly when it comes to pairs that'll survive the gym. And with every phone company under the sun going insane and erasing the headphone jack, jumping on the Bluetooth bandwagon suddenly looks wise. If your partner is facing this predicament, the Jaybird X3 should have them covered. We tested the X3 against a couple dozen wireless workout headphones late last year and found it to be the best all-around choice. It has a deeper, more dynamic sound than most of its peers. It comes with an array of ear tips and stays snugly in place throughout workouts once you have the right fit, and it can withstand a sweat drenching without worry. But the X3 is not without flaws. Its battery system requires you to keep track of a tiny proprietary clip-on charger, which is a pain in the neck, and on its own the headphone gets just okay 7 hours of juice. Taken together, though, the X3 should make your partner's workout a little more enjoyable. Anker Power Core 10050. Nobody looks at a portable battery and thinks everlasting love. But nobody wants to be left with a dead phone either, and that's what a good power bank like Anker's Power Core 10050 prevents. It's one of what seems like a trillion variants of these things, but it's reliable. It holds a decent amount of juice, rated at 10,500 mAh, and, crucially, it's small enough to fit comfortably into any backpack or pocketbook. This model supports Qualcomm's Quick Charge 3.0 standard, and it is indeed quick to charge newer Android phones in particular. Anker is likely the most popular of the hordes of Chinese accessory makers on Amazon, but you do get an 18-month warranty if things ever go bad. Again, please don't buy this as your only V-Day present, but as one piece of a larger goodie bag. Your partner should appreciate the practicality. Grab an extra long cable while you're at it to turn this into a little themed set. Jaipur is a fun and fast-paced card game designed for 2 players. In the latest update to our Ultimate Board Game Buyer's Guide, we called it an excellent tug-of-war that provides a surprising amount of tense moments within a small decision space. The idea is to take or sell goods from a central market and build up a repository of tokens along the way. But there's a constant friction between selling items as fast as possible and trying to sell particular items in chunks for bonus rewards. The resulting mix of skill and luck makes for a playful time for board game-loving couples. Each game takes about a half hour, so it's not a major time sink either. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle is one of the few games we'd recommend to people with any semblance of a relationship to gaming. It starts off with the feel of a baby's first XCOM, but gradually compounds and twists that concept into something thrillingly kinetic and tense. It teaches honest-to-goodness tactics without losing a simplicity that keeps everything in newbie players' reach. Plus, it's adorable in that fuzzy Nintendo way. Even the manic Rabbids characters could get a few laughs if you and your partner have kids. Anyone with a Switch already knows to buy Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey by now. While Kingdom Battle looks far more niche, it's just as easy to love. It's worth a shot if your sweetheart could use a new game. Born Enlarged. Several artists have made work inspired by Born. This is a woodcut of Maud, the giant flying bear, created by Theo Ellsworth. Really, you can pretend this says any book you think your beloved will like. If you need a nudge for your avid reader, though, we found Jeff Vandermeer's Born to be one of the better fantasy novels of 2017. It's an oddly touching fairy tale that manages to say something about bioscience being a parent and finding meaning in a mad, corrupted world. It also involves a flying bear the size of a Walmart wreaking havoc in a post-apocalypse. Born is at points weird, challenging, and a bit disturbing, but ultimately grounded in love. Sounds about right. Page 2. Your partner may already own a Kindle if they're a big enough bookworm. If not, the Kindle Paperwhite still does the job just fine, for a fairly affordable price. If your partner would enjoy an upgrade, though, the Kindle Oasis is the most luxurious e-reader in Amazon's lineup. Its 7-inch screen is larger than any of its predecessors, but not so big that it feels cumbersome to our hands, at least. That display is just as sharp as any other top-end Kindle and automatically adjusts its brightness to your surroundings. Its dimpled back and page-turning buttons make it particularly comfortable to use with one hand. The Oasis starts with 8 GB of storage, which is twice as much as its peers. It can adjust the screen's orientation automatically. It's also the only Kindle with a measure of waterproofing. It's still not meant to be operated with wet hands, but its IPX8 rating lets it live through splashes at the beach or around the tub. Like all Kindles, the Oasis could stand to be a bit faster, and its continued use of micro USB is disappointing. But the big screen and metal body are just plain nice. UE Roll 2. Speaking of surviving the tub, the UE Roll 2 may be the ideal shower speaker. It's been out for a couple of years at this point, but it still puts strong sound in a package that's waterproof, easy to manage, and above all else, supremely portable. Everything is relative, of course. Something this small can't produce much in the way of bass or a soundstage as wide as, say, a Sonos. But for what it is, the flying saucer design gets good volume and body without distorting tracks. It all sounds smooth. The Roll 2 gets about 10 hours of battery, which is fine, and its built-in bungee cord is perfect for wrapping around a shower faucet. Those massive volume buttons are impossible to miss. It's also gotten relatively affordable in recent months, regularly dipping below $70. If your partner is always listening to music and podcasts, the Roll 2 should be appreciated. A Movie Pass subscription. Movie Pass has blown up over the past year, and it's not hard to see why. $10 a month to see one 2D movie a day in about 90% of the country's movie theaters is excellent value. How long Movie Pass can sustain itself burning through cash like this is anyone's guess, but its service is a smart way to schedule a few cheap date nights each month regardless. You and your partner have to be movie buffs to really make the most of this. Movie Pass is banking on its subscribers not binging all year. You can only reserve tickets on the day of the showing, and gifting a subscription like this could get pricey in a hurry. But if there are a bunch of films your beloved is hoping to see in the next few months, this is a simple way to make it happen. Just make sure Movie Pass covers your local theater first. Lego NASA Apollo Saturn V building kit. There's not much to explain with this one. If your partner is into Legos or just the idea of doing a cute project with you and or your kids, you probably can't go wrong with Lego's NASA Apollo Saturn V kit. Ars has been in a bit of an Apollo mood in recent weeks, yes, but this is still a huge 1,969-piece set that has you create a playful moon mission, complete with a miniature rocket to launch, orbit, and splashdown. The finished product should make for a nice little display piece to boot. Fujifilm Instax Mini 90 Neo Classic. No, Fujifilm's Instax line of instant cameras won't blow anyone away with photo quality. You'll have to pay up for a true DSLR mirrorless or quality point and shoot if your partner wants an upgrade on the smartphone's shooter. But instant cameras have had a resurgence for being simpler to use while providing that sort of aged, warped exposure quality that's become popular on sites like Instagram over the years. You just shoot and watch the photo print out, like the old days. In this context, the Instax Mini 90 is a relatively advanced pick. It's still small and easy to operate, with all its buttons and controls immediately apparent. It still just works, but it's less likely to go haywire with colors and exposure than cheaper options in its automatic shooting mode, and it handles detail and shutter speed well enough to keep your subjects from looking like blobs of light. There's a handful of manual controls that let you tweak that output, though, along with options to shoot in landscape, macro, and double exposure modes. There's a built-in flash and rechargeable battery as well. Your partner will still need to buy cartridges of film when they run out at about $14 for a 2-pack. It'd be nice if those were cheaper. And again, your beloved has to want that nostalgic aesthetic for the Mini 90 to be worth it. If they do, though, the Instax is a fun, competent toy for parties and scrapbooking. Google Photo Book. Assuming your photos are already backed up in the Google Photos app, Google's Photo Book service makes creating a sentimental scrapbook wholly straightforward. The books themselves are best described as no frills, but they start at a reasonable $10, and putting them together is as simple as dragging and dropping your photos into the order you want. The quality of the photos themselves is perfectly fine, and Google's AI is particularly adept at finding whatever subjects, dogs, trees, etc. you search for within the app. Google's emphasis on speed and simplicity here does mean that its books aren't as customizable as some of its peers. You can only put one photo on each page, for instance, and you can't add captions. And all of this becomes a bit worthless if you don't use Google Photos to begin with. Apple, for one, has its own photo book service that starts at the same price, albeit a bit pricier if you go beyond the base 20-page limit, gives you a touch more flexibility over the layout, and offers slightly better looking photos. You need to own a Mac and use Apple's Photos app to create one, and it takes a little more work, but it's the better choice for Apple users. Either way, both services let you easily create a little book of memories for your partner without breaking the bank.